Hello.
Welcome to Brothers-In-Flaw Sports. I am your host, Normie. Here's our co-host, Cody, over here. Sorry for the delay in the stream starting. Cunyato is kind of running late. He had
You
a
can
hold up
blame
in the Jack's parking lot.
you can blame lazy fast food employees.
Yes, he was in the line waiting for 30 minutes and then decided to leave.
But he probably still needs to get something to eat, so he probably went through another drive-through. So,
And speaking of him,
there he is.
here he is. I think he's in the car though.
No, I just got to the house.
Okay.
Literally walking in the door. Hopefully DoorDash will come through.
All right.
I may have pizza brought into me during the stream. It's here, but I haven't gotten it yet. We ordered it right before we started.
There he is.
Buddy, it's been a long day for you.
Yeah.
It has. It sure has. But we're here now. How's the stream going?
We just
started.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay.
Because we said at 7:45, we'd just be like, all right, we're just gonna start. He should be close.
I didn't know we were waiting. I'm sorry about that, fellas.
It's fine.
I'm gonna tour of the casa right now because I gotta grab a phone charger. Ooh. Hell of a day, boys.
Well,
that's the way it goes sometimes, you know.
Sure enough.
But yeah, some of us had a hell of a week.
I did not. I had a chase week this week.
I have to play Chase this week, so I'm not going to talk any shit, but I will say if I lose to him, I'm going to resign. Not just as commissioner, just out of the league. I'll be done.
Well, Chase has that Auburn luck where he's not supposed to win, and it looks ugly as hell, but somehow he ends up winning.
It's true. Well, shit, I would take an ugly win.
That's exactly what I got this week.
Oh.
All right, so this one is mine. Of course, as you could tell, if you're new, any week I win, I like to dress up and gloat because that's what I do. The next time I win, I got a really good one. I've already ordered everything. So let's hope for another win for the Birmingham Bull Wieners. So what do y'all guys think on this one?
Well, AJ's team just totally shit the bed. It wasn't for your team. It's not like you're like a lot of your guys hit like right on their projections. So it was a fine week for you, but AJ's team just no one did what they were expected to do. The big one is Dak Prescott with 7. That's huge.
We got the Dak with the 7 and the George Kittle with 1.
Yeah.
So
they're still figuring out the offense at San Fran. They're good, clearly, but they don't have a guy yet. I don't think. But AJ would be the best one of the group to talk about that in depth. I have not watched them as closely as he has.
It's the same old with them. They're decimated with injuries. I actually feel really bad for AJ and his team, even though they're a divisional rival of mine and AJ is a personal rival of mine. So you would think that I would pull for them to lose all the time, but I don't. I for some crazy reason, like both of those things. Not as much as I like myself or my team, but but yeah, I mean they went down Raheem Mostert game 1 to a season-ending injury, and he looked really sharp game 1 playing, and then Elijah Mitchell comes in, 6th-round draft pick, I think, this year, and took Trey Sermon's spot at the number 2 back. Both of those guys seemed to step over JaMychal Hasty early on, but then Trey Sermon was a healthy scratch week 1. So apparently he, maybe lacking a little bit. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, and then both Trey Sermon goes out with a concussion, JaMychal Hasty goes out with an ankle injury, I believe, and Elijah Mitchell goes out with a shoulder injury and was able to come back in limited capacity late in the game because they were starting a strictly special teams guy at some point in that game this week. So and I think they're already down 2 or 3 defensive starters on the other side of the ball.
That's a bunch of injuries.
I mean, it's the exact same. Last year, it was a miracle that they were a 6-win team. That's a hell of a coaching job by Shanahan and that group, honestly, because they went down Kittle, Nick Bosa, Deebo Samuels was hurt a lot of the year. I think
Mostert was hurt a lot of the year.
Yeah, I mean, and Garoppolo was hurt most of the year. They're just plagued by it. Their Super Bowl year was like their most injury-free year when they made that trip. But the year before that, it was the same story. They seem to be cursed.
Yeah,
and it's all Santana's fault.
I think so as well. I think we can all agree on that.
But yeah, like Cody said, for my team, I mean, everybody Nick Chubb scored exactly what he was projected.
Yeah, and then Matthew Stafford is so close to his projected score right there too. Tyson Williams 0.4 over, DeAndre Hopkins 0.7 over, Kobe Myers underperformed. So many of them are so close to what they were projected, which is rare. Usually you got really high swings in places and really low swings in others.
Well, it's like when they say that like a bench player, like a backup running back is going to score 6 points that week. And I'm like, no, they're not. It's not happening. But yeah, I think I caught AJ on a good week for me and a bad week for him.
Yeah, because he scored. Did he score over 100 in week 1?
I think he did.
I don't feel good about a couple of guys in the league and their scores so far. I think so. Matthew's team and Harrison's team, 151 this week, and 130 for the other one.
151 is a PPR score, like a high PPR score.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
But for a standard league, ooh.
Yeah, I mean, a third of those points were put up by one player, because Derrick Henry just decided that he was going to be the monster that he is
in the second half.
But I agree. Both of those teams look really, really strong so far. And yeah, I'd say they're the front runners right now in our league.
Yeah, I think there's no doubt about that.
All right. Let's move on to Chase's game against Trent. He wasn't he had a high score this week, so he didn't win. That's what he threw off his algorithm. His algorithm is to score low. The other team will definitely score lower than him.
Yeah, that's the problem for him. He scored over 80 points.
Yep.
Therefore, he had no chance in it.
I'll never forget last year him having like the second best record. It was dead last in points.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he likes to drag his opponents down to his level and then beat them, in the mud.
Yep.
Thankfully, when it got to the playoffs, it didn't work, and he just got destroyed immediately.
Of course, everybody got destroyed.
Yeah, it's true.
Ooh.
There's one team a little better than the rest.
Fucking Alvin Kamara. Fucking asshole. 5 touchdowns. All right, moving on. But I mean, his team still did pretty solid. I mean, what is Clyde Edwards-Helaire problem? Is there something wrong? Because I mean, 7 points first week, 2 the second week, like.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest problems is that offensive line is 100% not there yet. Still, like they tried to revamp it this season, and maybe it'll gel, but it's not there. I think the Chiefs might still be the best team in football, maybe, but I mean Patrick Mahomes is still having to make plays that they're as good as they are because he can make plays that other quarterbacks can't.
Yeah.
Yep, he's done that a lot already. Just this season.
Mm-hmm.
Man, other than that, I mean, of course, Cooper Kupp has been just knocking it out the park.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a monster right now.
Because it's 16 last week, I was like, okay, that's about close to a ceiling, and then it's 27.
Yeah, and it would have been more if he didn't have a negative 5-yard carry.
Yeah. And then Trent's team, I mean, it looks.
Aaron Rodgers bounced back.
Yeah. I mean, that was going to happen.
Yeah. And then looks like everybody else. Travis Kelce did have a particularly good game.
Yeah.
Everybody else just kind of did what they were supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
His running backs underperformed.
Yes. But they've always been kind of hit or miss, especially Mixon.
I mean, it's going to be. Yeah, I mean, the one thing, Joe Mixon at least is the undeniable, undisputed starter on his team. But yeah, you're right. He's not a boom or bust guy. I mean, 7.1 is for the most part his floor. Kind of sucked, that he hit his floor that game, but he doesn't score much under that. Because he is a volume guy still, at least as a number one starter in a workload share. Kareem Hunt, on the other hand, I mean, he's a backup. He's the best backup in the league, and he puts up starter numbers because of that sometimes. But you also just, it's hard to forget that as great as he has been and as much talent as he has, Nick Chubb is number one.
Yeah. So you gotta make that gamble.
Yeah,
it did not pay off for him this week, but in the end, doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I mean he still won, but yeah, no, that's gonna be a tricky navigation route going forward with those two because you're right. Joe Mixon does sometimes hit his floor, and he's boom or bust in that he frequently scores below double digits, but then he also frequently will give you like 20-point games too. So
yeah,
and that Kareem Hunt is similar, except for a lower floor and probably about the same ceiling.
Yeah, it's getting I know with the because I saw Latavius Murray on his bench. That is one of those that Baltimore backfield.
Mm-hmm.
Having who I have. Tyson Williams. Sorry, I forgot his name for a second. But trying to navigate that.
Yeah.
It's starting to remind me of a New England situation. It hadn't gotten that bad yet. Well, Williams is still kind of the clear starter.
Speaking of a team that they're navigating exactly like the Niners are as far as their injuries are stacking up just as bad, if not maybe even arguably worse than the Niners right now, in that they lost J.K. Dobbins before the season started, their number one back, and then Gus Edwards, who was supposed to step in as a solid number one, backup handcuff guy, he goes down and he's out, for the season with an ACL tear. I think right before the week one started, Tyson comes in, plays really, really well. But I think he even got nicked up a little bit, and now they're bringing in, I think they've got Le'Veon Bell on the team, they've got Latavius Murray on the team,
And Devontae Freeman.
and Devontae Freeman on the team. I mean, so they're trying to fill the holes, and obviously anybody who's getting the bulk of the carries there has a chance putting up a big game, because at least one dude on that defensive front has to account for Lamar Jackson at all times.
Mm-hmm.
And that alone gives you a little bit more space than any other team in the league. Because, Kyler Murray can scramble and sometimes has design runs. Same thing for Josh Allen. I insert other quarterbacks that do that. I think that those three would be tops at it right now.
Yeah.
But Lamar is like a true runner. The other two are pass first. Lamar's a 50-50 guy. I mean,
yeah, he's like third or fourth leading rusher, had 1,000 yards rushing last year, and will almost definitely do the same this year, barring an injury.
Yeah. So far it's looking that way. Yeah.
He's got almost 200 yards rushing in 2 games.
And what I really love about him is everybody keeps talking about like the league catching up to him, and like the league catching up to him. Like, all right, well, this is year number 4, and I still don't see anybody who's truly caught up to him, quote unquote. But
No.
instead, his passing is getting better. You know. Then another thing for the Ravens, speaking about those injuries, they've got I think Marlon Humphreys is out. Who's a top 20 defender in the league, if not higher than that. And they also lost Rashad Bateman, who I think is eligible to come back next week or week after. I don't think he was on the 8-week IR. I think he was on the 3-week IR. But that was the dude they got out of Minnesota, who was supposed to be their true number 1. Now, Marquis Brown has stepped in admirably last week, played phenomenally. The whole Ravens team stepped up and did what they needed to do to notch a win against arguably the best team in the NFL. So, they're overcoming their situation incredibly well.
Yeah, they've got enough weapons that when somebody's out like that, they can usually compensate, and usually that compensation involves Lamar Jackson in some way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just the nature of his game makes it a little bit easier to navigate and compensate the injury front, especially with wide receivers, because they can just adapt their game to a more run-heavy quarterback, run-heavy. And another thing that I'm really impressed by him so far through his 3 complete seasons and this much into his 4th season, he knows how to not take big shots, even though he's a big target. Like, it's one thing for Kyler Murray, who's just a slippery guy. Like, he just twists his body, and he's a number 9 overall pick in baseball, so he knows how to slide. Obviously, he knows how to not take big hits. Lamar Jackson, I don't know what it is about him, because he's 6'2", 230. But he also seems to avoid getting those crushing blows. Like Cam Newton, when he was running, there were multiple times where he got like walloped. I haven't really seen that on the running quarterbacks of this day and age right now.
Yeah, they're both slippery. I mean, Lamar is the one I would describe more as slippery than Kyler Murray. They're both obviously ridiculously elusive, but Lamar literally slips between people to get out of bounds sometimes.
Well, alrighty. Anything else on this game? All right.
Kent, do you know you're muted? I guess he does.
All right, Cunyato, you're muted, but all right. All right,
Yeah,
so we got.
Just got here.
Oh, okay. So we got Dallas and Harry. So I mean, Dallas. I mean, he still put up a good number. Just happened to be playing Harry.
Yeah, he's 0-2, and I think his week 1 was pretty good too. It was the same situation. He hasn't played Harry in the blood spurts and not ideal back to back, has he? That would be very,
let's
very
see.
unfair.
No. I got Harry in the blood spurts week 1.
Yeah, I was talking about Dallas. Did he have to play? Did he have to play not ideal week 1?
No.
Oh,
Okay.
Who did he? He played Chase week 1.
Oh, he had a rough game week 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he had a huge bounce back. It just happened to be happy to walk into the buzzsaw. I mean, it's hard to overcome. You got the Bills defense who had 19 points, Kyler Murray 33, plus everybody else besides Antonio Brown and Jonathan Taylor had a solid game.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty tough to overcome.
Yeah. Just no weaknesses.
And then even on the bench, I mean, his bench isn't as good. But then, of course, Dallas had Aaron Jones have 35 points. That ain't happening every week.
No.
Especially not in Green Bay right now.
Yeah.
And then let's see, Terry McLaurin coming out with a big game.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Nothing really surprising here except for the Aaron Jones thing.
Yeah. That and Gronk's still killing it. He had 15.
Yeah. Well, I think maybe if you have anybody, even if it's like a third string running back, maybe you should start them against the Falcons.
This
They're
is
playing
true.
The Falcons that week, just start them.
Then the damn Falcons, they come within like 5 points, and then they throw a pick 6, and then somehow Tampa gets the ball back again, and then scores again to make it look like the 48-25. It was 28-25.
Okay.
At one point.
I didn't see much of that game.
And then I looked up and then it was like, oh, never mind.
Yeah. The Packers game against the Lions was like that Monday. The Lions were up by 3 at halftime and then lost by 18.
Oh, Cunha,
I mean, that's what I expected. Yeah. You get used to it after a while.
I got a 60-second video about that, Cody.
I watched that while we were waiting to start.
Yeah. I will say though, Dallas's bench, I mean, did pretty good too.
AJ just texted me and said, "And you win this week." So I got to look and see what just happened in our fantasy game. I don't have anybody playing tonight.
He texted me and said, "Fucking Christian McCaffrey." So I'm pretty sure McCaffrey just got hurt.
Oh no,
I don't want to hear that though.
No one ever liked to win on injuries, ever.
That's the only thing it could be. McCaffrey has 4 points.
Let's see. McCaffrey has hamstring injury 3 minutes ago from Adam Schefter.
Yep. That'll do it.
This Christian McCaffrey injury is exactly why you should never hold your fantasy draft before week 4.
What?
I don't know. Some guy tweeted that.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
I think it's supposed to be
Injuries can
dumb.
only happen week 1 through 3.
Yeah, I think that's the point.
Well, it's like this last year with Saquon Barkley getting hurt on the first drive.
Yeah.
Yeah. But some idiots are willing to roll the dice, even though they strictly told us multiple times they are going to ease him into action. I figured Joe Judge must be a liar because his job's on the line this year. But I'll tell you what, I don't know if he's stupid or if he's altruistic, but he is sticking to his word. No. That's our future. That's our future. So, well, motherfucker, you don't have a future here if you don't win, and you're not
Yeah.
doing that. So you might as well play your best player, who says that he's healthy and ready to go, and he's wanting more touches.
Let's say, how many Super Bowls? What was that guy's name? Tom Coughlin or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
Was there? How many Super Bowls did he win?
2.
And what happened to him? He ended up getting fired because he couldn't win anymore.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he won 2 Super Bowls and still got fired.
So it's not the time to wait.
The NFL is not a wait league. They do not give you time to wait and see.
Speaking
They
of
fire people. They fire first-year coaches in the middle of the season these days. I mean, that happens.
Yep, they've literally done that.
Speaking of, what do y'all think about Urban Meyer's quote that says playing in the NFL is like playing Alabama every week?
I think he's sorely mistaken. I think it'd be a lot worse.
I think he's an idiot for even saying it because it already starts to show cracks.
It's a really, really bad look. I get what he's saying in that, like, both at Florida and at Ohio State, a lot of the games in the SEC East when he was at Florida were. I mean, the SEC East was super down, and then after he left, they were like really, really down. In fact, so down that Missouri went twice to the SEC championship.
Yep.
And that was they got shellacked 2 years in a row by Auburn in 2013 and then Bama in 2014. And then I think to follow that up was Jim McElwain at Florida before they got Dan Mullins. And they got shellacked. I mean, so he was getting to step over the corpse that was the SEC East every year until they played Bama. I think they met in 2008 in the SEC championship, and they overcame and won, and then won the SEC or the national championship. And then in 2009, I think it was the first time, at least in a long time, where Bama and Florida ran the table, didn't have to play each other in the regular season, went 1-2, and then Bama beat Florida and the SEC. So I think what he's saying is he's used to being able to thoroughly beat most of his opponents.
Well, it's like I heard someone say, "There's no Purdue in the NFL."
Yeah. And also,
there's no Illinois in the NFL.
You took over the Jaguars with the number 1 pick, so that means they were ranked 32nd out of 32 teams. What did you expect? Like, what did you expect? You expected that roster was like Trevor Lawrence away from being good? No, they're not. And then also, Trevor Lawrence does not look NFL ready at all, whatsoever.
Does not.
No. I don't know who's doing worse, him or Zach Wilson.
Yeah, it's pretty close.
Yeah, that is ZA and ZB.
Yeah, number 31 and 32 best starting quarterbacks in the league.
I mean, you would figure coming into this year, with the Deshaun Watson situation, that they would be playing, kind of on par with Tyrod Taylor. That Texans roster is kind of beat up. Their number 1 receiver is Brandon Cooks, who's playing outside of his mind. He's doing great and good for him.
Yeah.
And then Tyrod Taylor, before getting hurt last week, was playing great.
Yeah.
You would have expected that, you would have taken either Trevor Lawrence or Zach Wilson over him in a fantasy perspective, even though they don't have the real life experience that he does. And just because his real life experience, every time he started multiple times, he's average. I mean, he's decent. He's not terrible, but he's definitely not great. He's not going to win you a Super Bowl or anything like that.
He's serviceable.
He's serviceable. He's backup. So you'd expect that the ceilings of these rookie guys, but thus far between the two of them, they look shaky.
Yeah.
I mean,
Then again, you do have to take into account they are on the number 31 and 32 team.
Well, and they also had excellent camps and excellent
That's true.
preseason. Well,
Yeah.
okay, Zach Wilson had an excellent preseason. Trevor Lawrence, there were some chinks in the armor already then.
Yeah, Zach Wilson, though, like you said, everybody was high on him. They thought he was gonna. I don't know what they thought was gonna happen at the Jets, but they definitely had higher hopes than what has happened so far.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out that you don't really have a rush game, and then they can turn everybody loose to rush the quarterback, and then also still cover your receivers. You're in for a rough night, and also you're playing against probably the worst behind the worst offensive line in the NFL.
Yeah, that's been their problem for a long time, and they didn't fix it.
You know, and I feel really bad for the Jets because that is a personnel problem. What I will, give to Saleh and the Jets is like a lot of their issues right now is personnel. I mean, they have what I imagine, like I say arguably, I think it's fairly inarguable. I think that they have the worst offensive line in the NFL. They have the worst rush attack in the NFL. They are down 3 defensive starters before the season started. Starting number 1 with Carl Lawson, and then it just got worse. And then I think they got 2 more week 1 injuries. I mean, fully healthy, they still wouldn't be good, but I don't think that they'd be quite this bad. I think that a lot of the Jags' problem is Urban Meyer. He
Looks
stepped into something that was over his head. He's won everywhere he's been. Going, I can't remember where he was at before Utah. Was it Bowling Green?
Yes.
Everywhere he's been, he's won. Everywhere he's been has been in college, and he already takes losses so terrible that he quits jobs as soon as they start happening. He becomes a stress freak that gives him health problems and heart problems, and he seems like a miserable human being, honestly. And I don't mean that as like he's like a terrible dude, although he also
No,
seems
you
like
just mean like he's literally miserable and doesn't enjoy his life.
Exactly. Like I don't feel like he gets a lot of joy. Like he hates losing, and all the best say this. They hate losing more than they love winning. But I feel like you look at Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski last year on the pontoon parade down in Tampa. Those dudes might hate losing more than they love winning, but they also enjoy winning.
Mm-hmm.
Urban Meyer, like he looked like he enjoys a win for a second, and then is like immediately pissed off.
Yeah.
And Nick Saban has a little bit of that quality, but I feel like he compartmentalizes way better. Like he's just a much more balanced human being.
Yeah, well, you can hate the losing, but you have to move past it. You can't let it affect the next week to the point where you're not the same coach. And that's what it seems like. Like the way you're describing Urban Meyer, that makes sense.
Well, another thing I've heard just this week, there's a lot of dissent in the ranks and has been since he got there because his staff, that he threw together overnight pretty much is kind of a 50-50 blend of college coaches that he brought up and already established NFL coaches. And the NFL guys and the college guys are not getting along whatsoever. Like that Urban and the college coaches seem to have kind of formed this unity against the NFL guys who a lot of reports are saying you have to do it this way. This is like these are professional athletes. These aren't college players, and they're not getting listened to. So it's not just dissent among the players up against the coaches. It's the coaches against the coaches as well. And I think it bodes really, really ill. I think that Urban Meyer looks like an excellent candidate for your USC job next year.
Yeah. I think so too, especially the way the Pac-12 is right now. He could go in there and do what he did at Florida for a little while, where he was the big dog in the conference. Then at Ohio State, big dog in that conference at that time. and he could definitely go to USC and do that.
Yep.
You may have like an Oregon that is going to be pretty good every year, but maybe be really good every couple of years, and then a Washington that's going to be good every couple of years, but it's really not that much.
Yeah.
So, all right, Kent, what happened in this game? What happened?
My team is not very good.
Thank you for tuning in to this expert analysis by Cunyato. My team's not very good.
I like that Naji Harris looks to be as advertised so far.
Yeah, he had a shaky first week, but I think that was mainly due to the team itself.
Well, his rushing stats are still dick. I think he's averaging 3.4 or 3.2 yards a carry. Not really on him. The offensive line there sucks. I mean, they lost 2 starters and are having to go through a rebuild as well. And they've also kind of abandoned the rush game pretty early in both games. So, jury's still out on that. But what happened in week 2 is he got involved in the passing game. Because guess what? Naji Harris is a 3-down, 4-down back if you play 4 downs. He plays it all.
Yeah.
But that's also why I rolled him as a starter again, and I really didn't lose hope even after a week 1, because he was the only rookie and I think the only running back that played 100% offensive snaps.
I think that is true. Yeah.
I mean, they trust him to. I think this in week 2, I think he only did 88%. But you know what? I'm not going to cry about that. That's okay. Everybody needs a little bit of a break. No, I'm still quite happy with Naji. I really hope that offense takes on shape. But with Big Ben now being out, I'm pretty terrified about that.
Yeah,
they might actually have to lean on him more though.
It could be.
Could be, but because who's the back? Mason Rudolph.
And I think Dwayne Haskins made the cut.
That's right.
I honestly haven't looked at that yet. Might want to go click on Big Ben, whoever has him, and see who. I
forget.
I'm not sure.
Him. I'll look that up.
But, yeah, I kind of panic buttoned with Joe Burrow. I know he's a volume guy, and I really, really like him and how scrappy he is. And he's still that, and he still looks decent, but he probably shouldn't be a starter yet, at least. We'll see going forward in his career. And then my backup plan for him, instead of adding depth at other positions that I probably should have been adding depth, I was already in panic mode, so I grabbed Mac Jones and Justin Fields, and then made a waiver wire move for Zach Wilson. So a sophomore quarterback who, hadn't really proven himself, and then 3 rookies.
Yeah.
One of whom wasn't even a starter. So I was just kind of on my heels with that one. I don't really like Mac Jones. He's actually, out of all the rookies we talked about, Mac Jones has looked impressive. But
yes,
Mac Jones plays in a super duper run heavy short pass offense, and thus far for the Patriots it's been effective, so I don't think they're going to go away from it. And I don't think Bill Belichick relishes the fact or relishes the thought of putting games into an air raid with a rookie quarterback. So I think he's going to try and protect Mac Jones from that as much as he can. I mean, hell, he did that with Tom Brady until Tom Brady was in his 8th year.
Yeah, that doesn't breed a lot of points at quarterback.
Ben Roethlisberger did return to practice today, so he's questionable right now.
Okay, that's wonderful news for me.
And then his backup, the depth chart shows Mason Rudolph, then Dwayne Haskins. And for some reason, they're keeping Dobbs on IR.
Nobody wants that. And I'm not a Steelers fan, but I am a football fan. Nobody wants to see either one of those mouth breathers starting because I've seen Mason Rudolph and I've seen Dwayne Haskins start for a season's worth of games, multiple seasons worth for Dwayne Haskins. Guess what? That's bad to watch. That's hard football to watch.
Hell, Mason Rudolph lost his starting job one year to a quarterback that played at Samford.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Duck Hodges.
Yep.
We actually know somebody who's loosely related to him.
I think I remember y'all telling me about that.
Yeah, my coworker's wife taught him in third grade.
Yeah, old
We're getting old.
Santana's wife, his second or third cousin.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Okay. I guess that makes sense. I didn't even think about that. But anyway, you just couldn't
kind
pull
of
it
a boring
out.
game to talk about here.
Yeah.
Nothing big for either team.
I feel good about Justin Jefferson. I feel pretty good about Jamar Chase. I also shot the bed with tight ends. I was like, man, I'm going to get both of the New England tight ends and see which one becomes Rob Gronkowski. And then the other one will obviously be Aaron Hernandez. And that's the stupidest shit I've ever done. And I'm pretty sure I said this last week. That's the stupidest shit I've ever done. There's only one Rob Gronkowski, and there's only one Aaron Hernandez. One of them's dead, and the other one's playing for Tampa Bay. So,
yeah,
you sure are killing it.
Yeah, much like Aaron Hernandez.
Nice.
Right. Let's move on to Cody's game. So
This
Cody,
is
you
another
ended up
boring
pulling
one.
it out.
Yeah, and Lamar Jackson got 32 on my bench, but I'm still okay with Russell Wilson was the better start this week because Lamar Jackson's track record against KC is not good.
Mm-hmm.
And he started the game with 2 immediate interceptions, and I thought I had made the correct call, but then proceeded to destroy their defense for the rest of the game and always. But Kamara and David Montgomery and DK Metcalf and Devontae Smith and Tyler Higbee combined for about 14 points. That's not helpful. And I still won. Buccaneers D.
I don't know what to make of the Saints though. Like when they played Green Bay, they looked like world beaters. And then I watched that Carolina game, and they couldn't do shit.
Yeah.
I don't know if Carolina's defense is just that good, but they could not do anything.
Yeah,
I think Carolina's defense is that good. I think Carolina has the best defense in the NFL this year. Yeah, they're stout. They are just stout. I also think that this game that I'm watching while I'm talking with you guys is a good game because I think the Texans defense is actually pretty decent this year. Obviously, their offense is going to be difficult to watch.
I think Mills can do it.
Yeah, old Davis Mills, the guy who already had injury problems at Stanford, now takes over for Tyrod. I don't even know who's behind Davis either.
We can find out, but 32 on your bench.
Yeah, I was surprised by that start, Cody, because yeah, you're right. You made the right head play, but I know how much you love Lamar. I figured you'd roll him either way.
Yeah. I just felt like maybe him scoring 18 compared to Russell Wilson's 23 would make the difference. It wouldn't have mattered this week.
I was say, the good news is it doesn't matter because you won either way.
Yeah, I won comfortably with 83 points. He had Tyreek Hill playing when I only had Justin Tucker, and I was only up by like 9 going into that. But then my kicker, Justin Tucker, ended up outscoring Tyreek this week.
Also, Davis Mills is back up. Jeff Driscoll.
Well, if that comes,
Oh man,
I bet no
was Trevor
Texans upper
Simeon
brass
busy?
will ever get a comfortable massage ever again.
Do you hear me, Cunhata?
What's up?
I asked if Trevor Simeon was busy.
No.
I mean, I don't. Jeff Driscoll. That's a name I have not heard in a long time.
No, I was wondering how old he is. He's younger than I thought. He's 28.
You hear that Robert Griffin III, like his deal with ESPN, he's open to he gets out of that contract with all of his guaranteed money with them if another or even NFL team shows interest in him and signs him, and he's already started floating it out there that he's willing to work out for the Redskin or the football team of Washington, and a couple of the other ones that are undergoing quarterback injuries. Why is he not talking to the Texans? I mean, if anybody needs him right now, if anybody mirrors Deshaun Watson game set, except for like the poor man's Deshaun Watson, I'd imagine at this day and age. I mean, RG3's got that.
Yeah, he's faster than Deshaun Watson. Even now, he'd be faster, but never really turned into an NFL quarterback. Obviously, there's still a lot of options.
Sorry about that. Yeah, there's more people out there than Jeff Driscoll. I mean, of course, Mason Rudolph is still playing as a backup as well. I mean, you could even try and get I don't know, AJ McCarron from the Falcons or something. But
yeah,
I don't know. AJ McCarron's skill set is incredibly limited. He's not mobile at all, and his accuracy goes dick after 10 to 15 yards.
Yeah, he's got some weaknesses for sure.
Or it's really not his accuracy. He just can't really put enough zip behind the ball. I mean, the NFL DBs are just a little too fast for him.
Yeah, I don't really expect to ever see him play in the NFL.
Honestly, if I were to have any job or any NFL career, if I was going to have anybody's, it would be AJ McCarron's. How many games has he actually had to play in?
Or Jarrett Stidham.
Or Jared Stidham. I mean, making millions of dollars just sitting there. Yeah. Hell yeah, I will do that. Well, maybe have to go in. Maybe have to start a game at the end of the year if you're really good. If the team's really good.
Stidham's honestly short-lived so far.
Yeah,
but McCarron's been doing it for almost 10 years and making $1 million contracts. I think his gross earnings in the NFL is somewhere like $15 million, and I think he started 5 games. I think he's actually 3-2 as a starter. He's actually, I believe, has a decent starting record.
Well, I'll take that, and then you don't have to worry about that. Crippling, physical.
Just came in here.
You don't have to worry about being crippled the rest of your life, or having a bad back or anything because you really didn't play much.
I mean, you're not entirely wrong there, Sean and Cody. You guys, backup quarterback. It's a pretty sweet place to be. I'm going to direct you guys in the direction of Johnny Hecker, the punter for the Rams, and the fact that he's on a $6 million contract as a punter and has made even more millions than that before that because he's been the best punter up until last year in the league for a decade. There's no wear and tear on your body.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's the longest punt in Super Bowl history.
That's insane.
4-time first team All-Pro, 4-time Pro Bowler. He is huge. He's 6'5", 241.
Yeah, and he's played some quarterback throughout his career before he became an NFL punter. And so we use him for trick plays. Look at his passing stats. His passing stats are pretty dope. He's won us games because of that.
His punt average is 47 yards. That's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, passing in 2012 it was 3 for 3 for 42 yards and a touchdown. In 2014 is 2 for 2 for 37 yards. It hasn't been that good since.
I wonder if he's got a thing in his contract, because a lot of these people have like these weird like stipulations in their contract, or they get like bonuses for things.
Yeah.
Because I remember hearing about Duck Hodges' contract. It was something like he would get a bonus if they did more than go 3 and out per drive. So if they got the ball and then they got a first down, he would get more money than if they just went 3 and out for that drive.
I hadn't heard that.
Like just little stipulations like that. So I wonder if that's in his contract. Like if he scores a touchdown, he gets some more money, or like a bonus.
It very well could be.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, now we got this juggernaut of Matthew. And I was looking at it. He had a player that scored 0.
Yep. The fact that he has Patrick Mahomes and Derrick Henry on his team is going to be just – how did we let that happen?
Well,
I'm upset with all of us.
Mike Evans, Tyler Lockett, and TJ Hawkinson have all been – Hawkinson's not consistent yet. Thank you.
No, not yet, but
but
he's a number 1 tight end. I mean, he should start on a fantasy football team that's deeper than 4. It goes Kelsey, Waller, Kittle, and then Hawkinson's like that. And Gronk right now. So those 4, and then
Gronk's number 1 right now.
Yeah.
Based on the first 2 games.
But just overall, like if you don't have those 4 tight ends, Hawkinson should probably be starting.
Hawkinson's ranked 3 right now.
Oh, yeah.
But then you got Damien Harris, who has been solid the past 2 games.
Also, speaking of Patriots by committee, it kind of looks like they're not going to be by committee this year. It looks like it's Damien Harris's show.
The 1 year, I'm like, no, I'm not.
I'm not doing it. I won't get fooled again.
And not only are they looking like they're doing the one running back thing, but it's also a running back. I love that guy.
Mm-hmm.
I love Damien Harris. I think he's just awesome guy.
Yeah, honestly, I can't remember when Alabama put out a douchey running back in the Saban era. They all seem pretty I didn't love Ingram because I didn't think that he deserved to win that year for the Heisman, so I was a little bit bitter about that. But as a person, he seems like a really nice guy.
Yeah.
The more that
Najee Harris is hilarious.
Yeah, Naji Harris is hilarious. Damien Harris is just a grinder. Eddie Lacy was a big fat nerd, and then he became like a big fat nerd.
Yep. He didn't want to play football anymore.
Like the absolute epitome of a gym freak, and fortunately, that seemed to have kind of ruined his career. But they all seem like stellar dude. Josh Jacobs was homeless to pro. They all have neat, cool, just quirks about them.
Of all of those, other than Derrick Henry, I think Josh Jacobs may be the most talented. He can do everything.
Yeah.
I think that Najee might compete, though.
Mm-hmm.
After watching him collegiately, now granted,
he has
the last year was just absolutely stupid, insane. I mean,
mm-hmm.
But you got to take into account too, Najee has a lot less tread on that tire than Josh Jacobs did when he came out.
Well, I don't know.
I don't know. Josh Jacobs
I don't
never
think
got the number one. He got, 'cause I think we talked about this last year. Because Josh Jacobs, I never thought they used him enough at Alabama.
Yeah.
But in the long run,
for
they
him, it
probably
was
benefited.
great.
Yeah.
Because they ran Damian Harris into the ground, and you could tell because it took him a couple of years before he's where he is now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the opposite. I think Josh Jacobs, he never averaged more than like 10 or 11 carries at Bama, whereas Naji was the dude last year.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Josh Jacobs has more tread on the tire.
The way you said it was reversed, I believe. I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I could have been.
Oh, yeah. I think I understood it backwards too. Yeah.
Yeah,
either way, we all agree.
Well, I mean, Josh was never the dude, but no, okay, that's what you meant. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah,
you
Josh
said tread on the tire. I was thinking wear on the tire. I was thinking the other way around.
Oh, then I might have just misunderstood. But either way, yeah, no, you're right. If that's your commentary on that, there, Normie. Yeah, Jacobs has much less wear and tear on his body from his collegiate years, and even as a pro, he hasn't been. Even though he's had, is this his third year in now?
Yes.
So.
Yeah, because Henry Ruggs was their draft pick last year. And Jacobs was before him.
And then this year was Leatherwood. So
we love some Bama.
Yeah.
Well, who doesn't?
I was going to say that's 3 years in a row.
But it seems to be a pretty winning recipe.
Yeah. So Naji Harris, he's got the Marshawn Lynch factor. Just the beast mode thing. Whereas Josh Jacobs, I think, is more skilled. He's quicker, most likely, almost definitely faster straight ahead.
Oh no, I would doubt that even one little bit. I think Josh Jacobs probably paces Naji a fairly decent amount.
Yeah.
I'd say Josh Jacobs might be, as far as like true runners, so take out like Kenyon Drake and TJ Yeldon, like the big dudes who handled all three downs. I think Josh Jacobs might be only second to Derrick Henry in straightaway speed.
Yeah, Derrick Henry's top end speed is ridiculous to be 250-pound man.
To be that huge, yeah.
To be any size. To be any size. I mean,
yeah.
He leaves defensive backs like it's nothing. If he gets open field, I don't think I've ever seen him get chased down.
No, it hasn't happened yet. Hasn't happened yet. He has 100-yard runs or 99-yard runs, and they can't catch him.
I mean, if he gets up, he's like the juggernaut. If he gets up to full speed, you're not going to stop him. The only way to stop Derrick Henry is to hit him behind or at the line. And that does not happen very often. And that is why he has led the league in rushing for the last 2 years, and I think was fairly decently close 3 years ago.
Yeah. Well, and if you do stop him behind the line, it still hurts.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this was a decent game for Nathan. You just had to play that ridiculous team that, of course, Matthew has.
We'll say Matthew did this last year towards the beginning. Because remember, someone had to tell him that he was actually doing good.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, he could fizzle out.
No one tell him this year.
Yes. You keep your damn mouth shut.
He has so many Alabama players. He's got Derrick Henry.
That's what he does.
I mean, they're all running backs. Kenyon Drake. He's got Tua.
Yeah. I think
Tony
he got
Pollard
Tua last pick.
is a sleeper pick that he got. That may end up paying off too, but he may never swap his starting lineup anyway because he's not paying attention. So we don't know.
Yeah.
Tony Pollard was really great last year in Zeke's absence, his healthy absence.
And it looks like this year that might just be the thing. I'm starting to wonder if it's not somewhat close to time for the Cowboys to really start thinking about at least a two-headed monster, which clearly they are. But I don't know. I mean, it might be full time to full-time transition. Zeke has not looked like himself, or at least maybe this is himself now. Maybe this is just Zeke now. I don't know. I hate that more if it is, because he was really, really fun to watch in his prime, and I hope that's not passed him by already. But speaking of a dude who they always said the volume is going to catch up, especially after DeMarco Murray had already done it right before him, and it super caught up to DeMarco Murray, quick, fast, and in a hurry. But maybe that's what's happened to Zeke as well. Now everybody keeps saying that's going to happen to Derrick Henry, and then he goes and drops a 40 burger on everybody.
Yeah. Derrick Henry's he's a whole other thing. You can't predict what's going to happen with him. He's not even a human.
Well, speaking of
Pretty
like
obvious.
taking big hits, stuff like that, as far as quarterbacks go, Derrick Henry's like the opposite of that. Instead of being slick and slippery like Murray and Lamar Jackson, like he's just so damn big. It doesn't matter. Like if he falls into you, it looks like it barely touches him and you go flying. Like whereas like I saw DeMarco Murray and Ezekiel Elliott, even my dude Steven Jackson back in the day, power backs, three down.
Steven Jackson.
Oh yeah, he's up for the Hall of Fame for the first time this year.
Okay.
I don't think he's going to get in. I don't think he'll ever get in. Honestly, I don't think he put up those kind of stats. Damn it, I love him.
He didn't play long enough, and he had a few years. Yeah, he's just right below that for sure tier.
I think it's Torrey Holt's first. No, it couldn't be Torrey Holt. He's been out in way too long. It couldn't be Torrey Holt. Oh, it's Steve Smith. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, he'll
Smith's
get in.
First up, Anquan Bolden's first up.
Yeah. Steven Jackson, unfortunately, is not quite on the level of those two guys.
No, I don't think so. And I think it goes from the 100 that are up right now, and then that'll get narrowed down. I think the very first cut goes 100 to 20, and then the next is 20 to 15, and then the final cuts. How many people get in? 6? 8?
Something like that.
I'm looking at Steven Jackson's career. He has 11,000 rush yards. He may get in.
Yeah, I mean, he had a great career. Me and AJ used to compare him and Frank Gore all the time. For a long time, Steven Jackson was actually the better pass catcher, and Frank Gore was the better pure rusher. And then for a couple of years, that kind of swapped, where Steven Jackson was averaging more yards per carry, but not as many yards receiving, and vice versa. But it turns out, Steven Jackson was human, and Frank Gore is immortal.
Yeah.
This is true. That dude is made of steel.
I don't understand. I really, he tore both ACLs in college. People were afraid to touch him coming out in the draft 1,000 years ago when he was, first coming out because he was an injury risk.
That's funny. 48 seasons later.
Yeah, right. All righty, guys. We've been going a little over an hour, and since we started later, I think we'll skip the college football talk until next time.
Okay.
So, yeah, it was fun. Good luck to everybody this week. Unless I'm playing you, then I hope you lose.
I don't think any of us are. I'm playing AJ, so
I'm playing
just lost.
Okay.
Yeah, AJ lost McCaffrey, so it gives me a better shot. But I don't like seeing McCaffrey go out.
Yeah, that is a tough one. All right, guys. It was fun, and we'll see y'all next time.
Absolutely, boys. I'll see y'all then. Viewers, listeners.